Alrighty guys, we'll get started. You got Philadelphia Union head coach Jim Curtin. Jim will give an opening statement, then we'll open the floor to questions. Once we're done on the floor, we'll go to the phones. If you're on the phone, please keep your phone on mute until it is time. Jim, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, just to reflect back on DC, obviously a disappointing result. A game that was one where we actually did a decent job on their key guys, on Acosta, on Lloyd Sam, on Patrick Nyarko, their most dangerous guys. We actually, on the day, over the 90 minutes, kind of limited those guys. Had two silly, kind of freak plays and giveaways in the same part of the field. And credit to DC, they made us pay for it. I thought in the second half we pushed the tempo of the game, looked more like ourselves. We're able to get our key guys on the ball a lot more and create a lot of chances for a road team. Not able to come away with points. So obviously now 3 out of 4 on the road. Nobody in our group, players and technical staff are happy with our point total, but at the same time we recognize this league is very challenging to go on the road. I believe there's only been 6 wins, in almost 40-some games on the road this year. So we have now 3 at home. We still have 30 games left of a season, and have time to get things right. But there is urgency, with a very strong Portland team coming into our building, one that creates a lot of problems attack-wise, has been organized defensively as well. Have some really dynamic players and made some really good additions to their group. So we'll have to be really on our game, and we'll need our fans behind our boys when we come out here back to Talon Energy Stadium.
Questions, Jim on the floor.
Jim, there were some times last year where you guys had winless streaks,
Yeah.
and then we're coming home to have some opportunities to gain points.
Yeah.
Is this week anything like some of those late last season when you guys were mired in that slump, and were different? Is it the same in some ways?
It's again, it's tough to 2017 is different than 2016. It's always tough with carryover. Obviously, we know how that last year ended. We're 4 games in this year. We've lost 2 games in a row. That doesn't taste good to anybody. We're not happy with that. But it's a different group. There's different players involved now, so I don't even know the feeling from last year. So it's tough to really pinpoint and say it doesn't feel exactly the same. I would say it doesn't. I think that there is a sense of urgency, though. You look at the table, we're in a bad spot. So again, you don't want to fall too far behind. The good news is only one team has 3 wins in the East right now, so that we're not that far off the pace. But at the same time, there is that danger if we don't take care of business at home that you could really fall into a hole, and it's a tough league to chase from behind. So we recognize that, the importance of that. Again, it's still when you talk with all the players individually in film, as different groups, as midfielders, of defenders, there is a real belief in the group that yes, we've come on the wrong end of some results, but it's not as if we've been outclassed in games where we say, man, that team was a lot better than us. So again, there's still a feeling of belief. We continue to execute on the field. Some of these little breaks will go our way. Penalty kicks for against us. Red cards that do or don't go our way. Again, I'm a big believer if we continue to work hard and stick to some of the things that we've done in the preseason and into this year, things can shift quickly in this league. It's a league where everybody goes through highs and lows, and right now we're in the early stages, and we have 2 losses out of 4, and that's not good. So we have to rectify that.
Charlie.
How much is it a motivator now with practice and training with the staff that you've got 3 home games in a row?
It's huge. To be back in this building is important. Again, I think I might fudge the numbers a little bit, but it's something like road teams this year are 6-24 and 14, something in that range. So it's hard to go on the road in this league. Again, could we have stole a point in Orlando? It goes off the post and out. That's our luck right now. That's the way it's going. Could there have been a red card in the 64th minute? They review it now and they say, yes, it was a red card. That doesn't help us in the moment. That helps actually New York City FC. So, when you hear these decisions, it's difficult. But again, our group is strong. Video replay will come in at the midway point of the year. Maybe things will start to bounce our way. Again, it starts with one guy making a play. You saw, CJ's given us some life now, and his little spark that he gave us in the game, I think, was important. And that's how it starts. CJ makes that play, and all of a sudden there's belief in the group, and we're kind of buzzing, and we're around the goal, in and around the shots on goal. Hamid makes a couple saves to keep them in it. But again, it starts with one guy making a play, and then we have the quality in our team that we can get back in this thing.
Joe?
I saw Jack was training with Fuji center back. Is that what you're going to go forward with Michigan protocol?
I thought Jack came into the game in a tough spot at halftime of a game. To make your debut is not easy for a defender. I thought he came in and passed the ball very well. Obviously, DC was at that stage sitting back a little bit, but he connected his passes. He was very good positionally in stopping the counters that DC tried to come at us with. So happy with how he played. Currently, Richie's going through the protocol. It looks like we'll be cleared in time for the game. Again, that's speculation, but it does look like he'll be cleared in time for the game, and then we'll have to make a decision as to what the best pairing is to get a result, knowing that Richie hasn't had the full week of training. So there will be a tough decision to make in that regard. Confident in both guys though now. I'm confident in Jack to play in MLS. I believe he has the size, the feet, the passing ability to play in the league. So, and he showed that, to his credit, against DC United. Really good performance.
Jim, any update on John McCarthy?
Also going through concussion protocol. Was scheduled to have his first day back training on Sunday while we were coming back from DC. Trained on the side with the goalkeeping coach and had some symptoms and was, I guess you'd call it a setback. So still not out in training with us right now. So Jake likely will step in and be the reserve goalkeeper for the weekend.
When did John's injury happen? Been training during the
It was the week after Orlando, so we're going back a little while now.
And then EDC Papa didn't make the bench. Was that just the odd tagger out? Was there any injury? Or?
Yeah, no injury. The thinking there, obviously we have a lot of good wingers, good attacking guys. We went a little more defensive minded in terms of our subs going on the road. So we took Jack, we took Warren, and we took an outside back. At home, you might see us lean more towards an attacking group in terms of subs. The thinking there is you have 3 attacking subs in Alberg, Sapong, and Herbers at the moment. So that was kind of the thought process there. Obviously, the center back gets hurt and that goes out the window, and you can't use all your subs because of the injury at halftime. But that's where that one was at.
Jim, has there been any difference in CJ starting this year than anything he's improved on from starting last year?
Yeah, I think CJ's been a guy who has had a good preseason. Him and Jay and Charlie are all pushing each other in a healthy way. It will be a decision we'll have to make this week, because CJ is similar to the beginning of last year on good form. He's scoring all his chances in the games. We have to decide what's best. Is it best to have him empty his tank at the start of a game and maybe have Jay come off, or is there something to the fact that Jay holds the ball up and makes it harder on guys, and CJ comes in with fresh legs and can kind of, center backs don't like looking when CJ's coming in with 30 minutes left. So he is a hot forward right now, and a forward that's getting goals and creating chances and giving us life. So we have a decision to make, and I'm confident in both guys.
Charlie?
Just your thoughts on the development of Derek Jones. He's come in, and he's such a young player to be thrown in this in his development.
Yeah, he's been excellent. And again, a lot of it is because we only have 2 draws and 2 losses that it gets kind of lost in the shuffle. The position he plays, the work he's put in. After every game, the opposing coach will bring his name up as a guy who they're impressed with. So he's doing really well right now. Again, you see they come out with articles on homegrowns and different things, and his name doesn't seem to come up, and he's actually playing minutes as opposed to some of the guys they rank that have never played in MLS yet. So it's one of those things where as our team has more success and we get some wins, I think people will point to his play. I notice it as a coach and who's around him every day that he's been excellent. He's really progressed. he's doing some really good things.
Do you think there's any expanded roles on him on the field at all? Any changing position, or are you pretty set on that where he is now?
He can play, as an 8. He can do the defensive work of a number 6. Right now I would say he's kind of a box-to-box midfielder. We would like to see him creep a little bit more forward into the attack because he does have some quality to make the final pass. But he's done everything we've asked him for a young kid. He's really grown quickly, and I'm happy with where he's at, and he continues to get better each and every day, and that's all you can ask for a kid. And I think his ceiling is a high one. He's been kind of a late bloomer and a guy who has the body, has the athleticism for our league, but also has the ability to pass, get out of a tight spot, can win a tackle against some of the most dangerous players in our league. So really happy with Derek. Hasn't gotten maybe the accolades, but that's because we haven't had wins yet. And then once that comes, I think that as the team has success, the individual accolades start to come, and Derek is deserving.
Couple more, Dave.
Staying with the midfield,
Yeah.
how have you assessed the play of Mendunian? It seems like he's on the ball a lot this year. What
Yeah,
are some
and-
things that
and-
have stood out?
And I think he's an example of another guy who is quietly going about his business, and in the whole league right now, he's the #1 guy in terms of chances created, which is a big off the stat, which are chances that should lead to goals. He has 13 of them right now. Unfortunately, we've only converted on 1. So again, it goes back to once things start to go our way and our luck can shift, and we can get a break here or there, and I think you'll start to see these guys get mentioned for how well they're playing. He's a great passer. Again, he leads the league in that category, which is an important category, one we look to and one we use as a benchmark. He's a great leader. He puts his arm around Jonesy, gives him feedback that's honest and firm, and what he needs to do to raise his game. So, Harris checks all the boxes. He's been excellent for us. Great range of passing. Is a true professional. Trains every day, hard. Puts the work in off the field. Takes care of his body, film. And again, ultimate professional, and is having a good year. And again, I think people will start to take notice as we get further into the season. 4 games in, still early, but he's doing a very good job.
Jim, talking to Alejandro today,
Yeah.
he mentioned that he still feels that the number 8 is his better
Yeah.
position as opposed to the number 10.
Yeah.
It seemed like against DC and in parts against Toronto, he was more influential when he's able to get the ball deeper in
Mhm.
possession. Is that something that's on the table in terms of how to change his role, whether it's formationally him playing as the 8 or just working away if he's at the number 10 to get him deeper in possession?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of variables went into the decision to put him in the 10 spot. Again, he and I are in agreement that isn't his favorite spot. It's not where he wants to be with his back to the goal. Can he do it very well? Yes, he could. And if the penalty goes in and he scores that, and a couple of the good passes he's played and assists come up, it's a non-discussion what position is best for him. He's a guy who we've asked to do a ton. He does a ton of dirty work, running defensively for us. Is capable of playing in the 8 spot, is capable of playing wide like he does for the national team. Is just overall a really good soccer player who I believe in is having a good year right now, and a guy that we need to continue to put on the ball in dangerous parts of the field more than we have. Sometimes he might have to drop a little deeper to get on the ball and start our attack. We've talked a little bit about that this week. You saw in the second half against DC where we kind of almost inverted our triangle of Harris and Jonesy with Ollie in front. It kind of converted to Harris being kind of just the lone point, and the other 2 of them at the top of the point, which allows Ollie a little more freedom to get on the ball and turn and have his head up, as opposed to sometimes when he's in the 10 spot, he has two guys hanging off of his shoulders on his back. So it's a difference between 5 to 8 yards on the field, but it can make a big difference in terms of a player's comfort level. So we've worked this week in getting him on the ball in dangerous parts of the field, but in positions of the field that he's most comfortable in. So whether you call it an 8, a 10, an 8.5, it's semantics at this point, but a good player who we need to have on the ball as much as possible for us.
What is it that's stopping him from playing in that position? Is it just not having the faith in Alberg? Is it possibly having, is
Yeah,
there the possibility of a two-thrower system, because he works so well with that with the
Right.
national team?
Yeah, I
Those
think
things on the table.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, Roland has worked on to build his fitness. He's improved that a great deal. Part of it is that, you know, Jonesy has emerged as a strong number 8 that's doing a lot of ball winning for us in that regard. So a couple different variables go into it. You know, and again, Ali's a guy that if we're going to be at our best, we need to have on the ball as much as possible, dictating things, and it's best to get him on the ball in dangerous positions, and we've come up a little bit short in doing that as a team, and that's not on Ali, that's on us as a team.
Any more questions on the floor for Jim? Go ahead, Jim.
When you have assessed what Portland has done this year, you
Yeah.
mentioned the depth of their attack, especially
Yeah.
in the final third. How have you assessed that, how they've been getting some of those goals this year? Is it with these, like Guzman and Blanco are 2 acquisitions that are getting a lot of playing time?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You know, you add to Valeri, Adi, Nagby. You sprinkle in now. They add a Blanco in the offseason, who was a big time player. Guzman gives them, actually frees up Chara a great deal to get forward more. So they're dangerous, no question about it. They're very fluid in their attack, great in possession. They get width from their outside backs. They get forward as well. There are moments in transition, but you have to be decisive against them in transition because they recover so quickly with the speed that they have. And Powell on the outside with Chara tracking back. Yeah, a dangerous team that presents a lot of problems. They can beat you a lot of different ways. Have a high number of guys on the field that can score a goal and make the final pass. At the end of the day, though, it still starts with Valeri and Adi, 2 guys that the league is familiar with, 2 guys that coaches and teams game plan for, but still wind up getting on the score sheet at the end of the day. So that's our toughest task, to get those guys taking care of them and limiting their chances as best we can. While also not falling asleep on the Blanco and Nagby, who are also so dangerous.
Last one on the floor, Matt.
Thoughts on the Eric Ayuk loan? I guess everyone forgets that he played 28 games 2
Yeah.
years ago. How important is it for him to get regular games at a different level?
Yeah, it's crucial. Any young player needs to be getting minutes. Eric was a guy who did a great job for us a couple seasons back, but as we kind of grew and evolved as a club and in his position, it just got very crowded, and it became difficult to get him minutes. He's still a guy we very much believe in, has a lot of bright years of soccer ahead of him. He's still incredibly young, a guy who all of our players really liked having in the locker room, being around. Tremendous kid in that regard, but it was just important for us to get him some minutes in high level games overseas right now, after coming off of a really good competition in the with his national team, doing a good job there, and there was interest in him, and we decided this was what's best for Eric right now. Always a tough decision, but at the same time, one I think he'll become a better player because of.
Any questions for Jim on the phone?
Jim, this is Jonathan Hannibal. I know you've had variations on this constantly, but I'm just curious if specifically you think Harrison Lynch can play high, which might help how they get trouble in the team.
Yeah, I mean, there can be some. It can be a little bit fluid. We want our guys to have clear roles, and I think they are clear to them now, and how we want to build up. Again, when we don't have success, there's going to be things that are pointed out, and criticism can become fair in some regards, but in this case, I still believe Harris, Ali, Derek Jones have been doing a very good job for us in midfield. Again, can we invert that triangle a little more in the run of play? Absolutely, to give guys time on the ball when they're at their best. Absolutely. I think it's something that we've worked on in training. It's something that we looked at in the film in the second half of DC. We're at our best when they're the guys deciding the game, and they're all doing their part, and they're on the ball as much as possible. So we'll continue to work on that. It is still a new partnership with the 3 of them, for sure. It's early in terms of the amount of games that they've played together, but we do recognize that urgency. and the importance of now coming home and taking 3 points.
I have a question on the Eric A. loan. It opens up a roster spot for you. What do you want to do with it?
That's still in the works. Obviously, yeah, it does open up a spot for us, an international spot as well. So again, nothing is in the immediate future right now, but it does give us some flexibility in that regard. Again, we're always looking to upgrade our roster, but we do believe in the guys that we have here now. And again, it starts with one big play and a big play that leads to a win, and then I think confidence comes back and we can get on a roll.
Any more questions on
This
the?
is John Smallman with the other things.
How you doing?
Obviously, it's early, it's only 4 games,
Yeah.
but table is what it is,
Yeah.
and right now it's not looking good.
Yeah.
But these next 3 games, how important is this? I mean, just from my point, if you guys don't get 7 points out of this, out of these next 3 games, you could spend the summer chasing, and that's never a good thing. Do the guys, I know you keep saying there's a situation, but do you feel the guys really understand the importance of this 3-game series?
I think they do, and listen, it starts with me. I've always been a guy, and I will continue to be a guy that gives the players the credit when we win because they deserve it, and I'll take the blame when we lose, and this is no different. I'll continue to be a coach that is in that same mold. That is for sure. That will never change. I do believe in the group. Again, we're not that far off. You look at each individual game, I am very objective, and I think I have a pretty good self-awareness as to what we've done well and where we're at. I recognize each game, could have gone a different way, for sure. We had some decent performances in there. We have things we can work on, absolutely. But to answer your question, our guys definitely recognize the importance of these 3 home games. Every home game is obviously important, but it gets magnified now when we have a slow start. 3 out of 4 on the road was tough, and we probably came up 2 to 3 points short of where we wanted to be. If we have those 2 to 3 points, there isn't the pressure, there isn't the feeling of and the questions that you get now. But we've put ourselves in this position. I'm confident that our group will respond. Tough games at home now. It'll go Portland, who's a top team in the West. It'll go NYCFC, who's a top team in the East, and Montreal, who it's always a real fight with. So there's no easy games in our league now. We have a good team though. The other teams have improved also. So again, it needs to be said. We're in this together. Our locker room is a strong one. And I've said to the guys now, yes, we have a great locker room. We all believe in what we're doing. We all believe in the work that we do. But now the talking needs to stop, and it's time to execute on the field because we have set ourselves up in a tough spot. Perspective-wise, though, it's 4 games in. We have 30 more games to go, and we have a group of guys that is more than capable of getting results at home.
Just in one follow-up, do you feel comfortable in your position, or is there starting to be a sense of pressure on you?
There's pressure every day in pro sports. There's pressure on players. There's pressure on coaches. There's pressure on technical staffs. That's normal. Again, accountability in our sport is necessary for our sport to grow. So I recognize that. Again, I don't run from it, and I'll be the guy that will take the blame when we lose. And we've lost 2 games in a row. We lost 2 games. You can talk about 2016 all you want, and that was difficult for us to go through, but this is a new season, this is a new team. We have to get this right in this 3-game homestand. That part is clear. I think that's fair to say. There's always pressure in pro sports, and soccer is no different now.
Any more questions for Jim on the phone?
Jim, this work on these shit going meanwhile, just one question, have you considered at all more of a chance to get CJ on there, pairing him with Jay at all?
Yeah, it's a possibility. They would complement each other. CJ's physicality and ability to win things in the air, and Jay running off. Yeah, so you always discuss things. Again, we have to do what's best for for everyone to get our best team on the field. But yeah, that's certainly a conversation that comes up. Is there a way to pair them? But you know, again, I can go to the data as well. We've been a team that's given up. I could give you a million stats, but you know, we've given up 13 shots this year defensively. 6 have gone in. So again, if we continue to work and limit teams and do all these things, eventually the breaks will start to go our way. Some of the data that comes back in the attacking third with Jay, with the CJ, and the opportunities they're creating and the looks that they're getting, if we continue to get them service, they're going to score goals. We're confident in that. Expected goals data that comes back from Opta. We're doing a lot to create chances. We're doing a good job to limit the other team, but for whatever reason right now, it's not going our way. So we have to fight through that. We have a strong character in our locker room. You know, CJ and Jay are 2 forwards I'm confident in. And yeah, there is always the possibility of them playing side by side.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jim, this is Dave. I probably have one more quick thing on Jack Elliott.
Okay.
Just what did you tell him? And at halftime coming in last week, and just what did he kind of do to really cast Ken Tribbett on the depth chart?
Yeah, Jack's come in. It starts with his preseason. He came in very fit, came in confident, and showed an ability to pass out of the back. You know, he got to play in some preseason games, and you started to see against some good forwards that he belonged. You know, and his evolution now in training each and every day when he goes against our forwards, he does a good job as well. And he's progressed very quickly. And again, you always have to be ready for your opportunity. With Josh Yarrow going out, that obviously opened up a spot to first be in the 18. Richie gets a concussion at halftime. In that moment, I actually didn't get to talk to Jack before he goes out there because he's out on the field warming up while we're talking with Richie inside and making a decision on where he was at. So you actually, in a whirlwind of events, you don't even get to say anything to the kid other than relay a message from Gooch to him to get him involved in the game with maybe setting him up with a simple pass just to get his confidence right off the bat. That's all you can kind of do for a center back. Gooch, I think, did that, made him feel comfortable, switch sides for him to make him feel comfortable on that right foot. And overall, again, had a really good game, and that's how it starts. That's how it started for Richie Marquez. That's how it started for Josh Yarrow. And now Jack Elliott would be another guy who has that debut moment and rises to the occasion and does a good job. We really believe in our young guys. You know, it won't be the last time that a young guy steps up in a big spot. And happy for Jack to get his debut, and now, you know, we want more.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.